You are sitting somewhere right now. Maybe it's morning, coffee's still warm, phone in your hand. Maybe it's late, the house is quiet, everyone else is asleep. And for a second, just a second, you feel it. Not panic, not urgency, just something. A quiet weight, sitting somewhere behind your chest. You can't name it, so you scroll past it. You always do. You are not failing. That's the strange part. You show up. Every day you show up. You do what needs doing, you pay what needs paying, you handle what arrives. And somehow, at the end of it all, you look around and everything looks exactly the same as last year. The same apartment, the same account balance, the same Monday. You tell yourself it's fine. You're just being patient. You're just being realistic. But somewhere, quietly, you know the truth. Patient and paralyzed look identical from the outside. You remember when you had plans, not fantasies, actual plans. A number you wanted to save, a thing you were going to build, a version of your life that made sense. And you still believe in those plans. You haven't abandoned them, you've just postponed them until things settle, until the timing is right, until you feel more ready. But the weeks keep moving, and the months. And somewhere, between the grocery runs and the overdue emails and the nights that end before you're ready for them to end, you realize you can't remember when you last moved forward. Not backward, just not forward. You think about people you know. Not successful people, not exceptional people, just people. People who seem to have figured something out that you haven't figured out yet. They're not smarter, you know that. They're not more talented, but they have something. A momentum, a direction. Like they decided something at some point and everything just followed. And you wonder, quietly, when your moment like that is going to come. You're still waiting for it, still waiting for the sign, the signal, the event that makes everything clear, the moment when the decision finally feels obvious. You don't know that the waiting is the decision. There is a man. He is not old, exactly, but he looks at things the way old men do. Carefully, without a hurry. He sits by a window, a cup of something warm, the light coming in at a low angle. He doesn't look sad. That's the first thing you'd notice. He just looks settled, like someone who has stopped arguing with time. He worked for decades. He was not reckless. He was not irresponsible. He was not a person who didn't care. He cared. He just also believed he had more time. Not time to be lazy, not time to avoid, just time. Time for things to get easier. Time for the moment to arrive when saving felt natural, when investing felt obvious, when building felt necessary. He believed the version of himself who would do all those things was just a few years away, just around the next corner, just past the next transition, just waiting for the right conditions. That version never arrived. Not because he failed, because he kept postponing the meeting. He looks out the window. His children are grown, the neighborhood changed. The company where he worked doesn't exist anymore. Everything moved. He stood still. He doesn't say this with bitterness. He says it the way you report the weather. Matter of fact, observed. He says, I knew what I should have done. I always knew. Knowing was never the problem. He pauses. The problem was that knowing felt like doing. He lets that sit. I told myself I was thinking about it, planning it, preparing for it, and that felt real. That felt like progress. It wasn't. Here is what no one tells you. The enemy is not failure. Failure is loud. Failure is obvious. Failure demands our response. The enemy is something quieter. The enemy is fine. Fine is the most dangerous word in the English language when you are capable of more. Fine doesn't hurt enough to force a decision. Fine doesn't alarm you. Fine doesn't keep you up at night. Fine doesn't make you change. Fine lets you defer, quietly, comfortably, for years. You didn't drift because you were weak. You drifted because nothing was wrong enough to stop you from drifting. Because comfort arrived on time, every month, like a package. Enough to relax, not enough to grow. Because tomorrow has always been the most persuasive word in any language. Not as an excuse, as a promise. Tomorrow you'll start. Tomorrow you'll adjust. Tomorrow the version of you who does the hard thing will show up. And every day, that version stays exactly one day away. You built a life in the distance between intention and action. It's not a dramatic distance. It's small. It's ordinary. It's the 15 minutes you spent scrolling instead of thinking. It's the conversation you almost had with yourself but decided could wait. It's the account you were going to open, the plan you were going to make, the number you were going to face. Each one small, each one harmless, each one a vote. You just didn't realize what you were voting for.
But here is the truth. The problem was never the money. It was never the plan. It was never the right moment. It was never the knowledge you didn't have. The problem was the story you were telling yourself about who acts and who waits. Because somewhere, at some point, without realizing it, you assigned yourself a role. The person who is almost ready. The person who is nearly there. The person who just needs a little more time. And you played that role so consistently that it became invisible. It stopped being a role. It became your identity. And identity is not changed by motivation. Motivation fades. You know this. You felt it fade 100 times. Identity is changed by evidence. By the small, repeated proof that you are someone who does the thing even when it's inconvenient, even when it's uncomfortable, even when no one is watching. That proof is what you build, or don't. People misunderstand discipline. They think it is suffering, force, white-knuckle resistance. It isn't. Discipline is the decision to be reliable to yourself. That's all it is. Showing up for the person you said you were going to be. Honoring the promise you made in a quiet moment when you were being honest. Every time you keep that promise, something happens. Not externally, internally. A small deposit into an account most people never build. Self-trust. Not confidence. Confidence is borrowed from outcomes. It rises and falls with results. Self-trust is deeper. It's the knowledge, bone deep, that when you decide something, you follow through. That knowledge changes everything. Not because it makes you fearless, but because it makes the fear irrelevant. You act anyway, because you have proof that you can. Financial freedom is not a number. People think it's a number, a threshold, a line you cross. It isn't. Financial freedom is control over your direction, the ability to say yes to what matters, the ability to say no to what doesn't, the capacity to choose. That capacity is built, slowly, quietly, in the ordinary moments most people let pass, not in a dramatic decision, in 1,000 small ones, each one a declaration. I am someone who chooses. I am someone who decides. I am someone who builds. Think about the last ordinary day. Not a crisis, not a milestone, just a Tuesday. You woke up. You made choices. You went to sleep. That day was not neutral. Every decision you made was practice, not for some future test, not for a moment that's coming, for the person you are becoming right now. Identity is not declared. You cannot decide to become someone the same way you decide to change your shirt. Identity is accumulated through repetition, through consistency, through the quiet compounding of who you practice being when no one is keeping score. Here is what that means financially. Every time you check the account you didn't want to check, you practice awareness. Every time you delay a purchase, not because you can't afford it, but because you are choosing, you practice agency. Every time you put something aside before you spend what's left, you practice priority. None of these feel like transformation. That's the point. Transformation never feels like transformation while it's happening. It feels like Tuesday. And you are in the middle of 1,000 Tuesdays right now, each one building something or eroding something. There is no neutral Tuesday. There is no day that doesn't count. The man by the window knows this. He counted on the neutral days. He banked on the days that didn't count. He spent a lifetime waiting for the days that mattered to arrive. They arrived. He just didn't recognize them because they looked exactly like Tuesday.
He is still by the window. The light has shifted. Late afternoon now. Longer shadows. Someone asks him, "What would you tell your younger self?" He thinks for a long time. Then he says, "The time passes either way." Not dramatically, not as a warning, just as a fact. Whether you act or you wait, the years move. The difference isn't time. The difference is what you built while the time was moving. He looks at his hands. I used to think I was being smart, cautious, waiting for certainty before I committed. But certainty never comes. I know that now. You act without certainty or you don't act. Those are the only options. The milestones I thought would happen, the raise, the windfall, the right moment, some of them came. Most of them came too late to matter the way they would have 10 years earlier. He's quiet for a moment. I was capable. That's the part that stays with me. Not that I failed, that I was capable the whole time and treated it like something I'd use later. Capability without direction is just potential, and potential has an expiration date. He looks back out the window. I don't say this to frighten you. I say this because I would have wanted someone to say it to me, clearly, without softening it, without making it comfortable. I had decades of comfortable. Comfortable didn't build anything. The milestones that decide your financial future are not on any calendar. They are not labeled. They don't come with warnings. They look like ordinary days. The day you decide to finally look at the number. The day you stop letting what's comfortable override what's necessary. The day you stop saving the plan for the better version of yourself that is never quite arriving. The day you understand that the better version is not waiting for you in the future. It is being built by you, right now, in the ordinary moments, in the inconvenient choices, in the Tuesday that feels like nothing. Those are the milestones, not the promotions, not the windfalls, not the sudden clarity that arrives like a gift. The milestones are the moments you chose when choosing was hard, when it would have been perfectly reasonable to wait. The milestones are the decisions that no one witnessed, that didn't feel important when you made them. They are being made right now, by you, in this moment, as you are listening to this.
In a few minutes, this will end. You'll go back to what you were doing. The phone, the day, the routine. And somewhere in the next few hours, a moment will appear. Small, quiet, easy to miss. A moment where you could do the thing you've been putting off, look at the thing you've been avoiding, begin the thing you've been almost starting. No one will stop you from skipping it. No alarm will sound. No voice will tell you that this is the one. It will look like every other moment, but you will know. Somewhere behind your chest, in that place where that quiet weight lives, you will know. The only question left is the one you've always had. Who will you practice being when that moment comes? The person who waits, or the person who has already decided?